And we are back at the Bills Up Pod, brought to you by Roster Up Media. This is Andymac. Yes, it's been a while. It's been a while. We haven't been able to get a little bit of content out there through Twitter. We've been able to tweet during our games. We'll talk about them, but we haven't had a pod since our preseason pod with our 10 questions about preseason. There's been a lot going on this end. We don't need to get into that, but as long as we got to do, we're just going to talk about it right now. And right now, it's still a critical season for this Buffalo Bills team. Before we get into the Bills, just a quick shout out to our creator at Roster Up. We're still pumping out content. Other teams, Ravens, Giants, Rams, Lions, Panthers, we're just Eagles. We got about over 10 teams now that are pumping out a lot of content. I got to keep up with these guys. I would say we have the highest Super Bowl probability over any of them. Maybe the Eagles. Watch out for those birds, but we got to get more content out there, and that's what we're going to try and do. We should be able to get more, at least once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks right now. It was just a little tough to start the season on the personal end, but we're going to get into it. And I've been excited. I've had a lot of ideas. I'm ready to fire off. To go starting off, obviously, week one, we get that win. We run through LA, which we talked about. We knew we were going to do that. LA's way far behind us. No need to really talk about that. Teams look like a Super Bowl winning team on that first opening night. You go into week two, you get the Tennessee curse off your back. You have a Monday night in Buffalo. It didn't start off too great, and they just pushed through it. All right, we had guys, and then as that Tennessee game went on, we started losing a couple guys, knack here and there, and we're going to get into the full injury report for week four. But Tennessee is where this team really pushed through. It got the what you say, monkey on your back. Get that off your back with Tennessee Titans. We were sick of losing to them, so we got to stomp them out on Monday Night Football in our back-to-back primetime games. And then you're 2-0. You're 2-0. You're going into week three against the Miami Dolphins, who are also 2-0. Miami Dolphins had a bunch of headlines this offseason with Tyreek Hill coming in and Jalen Waddle and the speed on the outside is two with a guy, new coach, Mike McDaniel, a little bit of a revamped defense, good secondary. So this was going to be a test. We went into week three, both undefeated teams. Andymac was able to be in the building. I head down. I was down in Miami for the game. It was a hot one. It was really a hot one. And going into that game and leading up in the days going into that game, I felt like every single day the Bills were ruling out a guy on defense and the Bills were ruling out another guy and then a guy on offense. So going into that game, we had about half of our starters on defense playing. We had a fully brand new secondary with safeties Jaquan Johnson and DeMar Hamlin, and we also had Benford, who was out, so Khair and Benford both started, and Dane Jackson was out for the tough injury in week two. We went into that game with that secondary, and that secondary did their job. Like, they fully did their job. The one blemish was that 3rd and 18 deep ball that just a great play by also Miami, but secondary's got to be there. You're holding the whole game, but it had to be there. But just talking about the Miami game right now, it was a hot one. I was in attendance. It was a very hot one, and I first got to say Miami is just not even close to a sports town as New York. Like, if New York is a 9 out of 10 sports town, 10 out of 10 sports town, Miami's got to be at most a 3. There were literally more than half the stadium was Bills fans. The amount of crap I was talking going into that stadium, just yelling and high-fiving every Bills fan, yelling out, this is a home game, this is a home game, we're going to beat you with our B team home game. Like, I for sure should have had a bunch of crap talk to me after that game, but not one person came up to me. It was a bunch of Bills fans, so it really wasn't like we had a scene. There was a scene in Fort Lauderdale with all the Bills fans. Like, you get that many fans to fly down to your stadium and lose, like, you deserve to get a bunch of crap talked to you. And it just didn't. After we lost the game, we were like, all right, like, on to next week. Like, wasn't really too mad. Like, It was still nice in Miami. Like it was like it's just like it's what I thought of Miami as a sports center. Like I don't know. I feel like if that happened in Buffalo or someone comes up to Buffalo, say the Chiefs come up to Buffalo, like and someone's talking that much in the game, like they're gonna hear it on the way out. I don't think anyone's hearing anything on the way out. It's just like, oh, good game, whatever. I think a lot of people knew too as well, like Miami fans, that like we just dominated that whole game. Like we doubled them in yards. We had over 30 something first downs. We had time of possession, double them, and somehow lost that game. Like it was really hot. We weren't ready for the heat. We had guys cramping up left and right. Like Stephon Diggs, I remember just being in the stadium, like, why is Diggs not in? Why is Diggs not in? Like he came out and said that was the most tired he's ever been in his life. And like he had to just come out after every play pretty much. Jay Kumaro goes down, which we'll talk about in the injury report. So like we were definitely thin at wide receiver that game. And then you lose injuries on the line, and then you lose Christian Benford, and then you have penalties like Josh getting a 15-yard penalty, and then you get a holding call that's a little bit of BS, but whatever. And then you get missed field goals, and then you get very questionable play calling on second and short and third and short. So just a mixture of all of that was not the best. It just wasn't the best. I mean, in a tough, not at a home game, like you do wish they put through that, like you get that block punt or butt punt, as we like to call it, to be down two with the ball. Like I was like 95% confident there that Josh was coming down and at least leading them to a game-winning field goal. So, I mean, but you got to give credit. Give credit where it's due. Miami defense did a good job. Secondary's good. They got good safeties. Javon Holland's good. Xavier Howard's good. They got there. They pressured Josh for sure as well. I mean, the line didn't do a great job that game. But you got to give credit to him. I mean, we all saw last night in Cincinnati. It's a very touchy subject of Tua, but got knocked out, came back in the game, won them the game, and then prayers up to him after last night. That was a scary scene against Cincinnati, so hopefully he's all right. But it's just like it feels like it's just I walked out of that stadium thinking, how did we end up just losing that game? It was a very weird game, but it happens. We get our losses out now. We don't want too many losses out now. I mean, I was saying if we went through this first 8 weeks, 9 weeks, when we get past Kansas City and Green Bay, if we were undefeated, I would have liked our chances of going undefeated for the season. The second half of our schedule is definitely fairly lighter than the first half. So, but hey, we get a loss out here and we move on to next week. But now we're 2-1. We're 2-1. We're a game behind. Well, Miami's now 3-1, but we are a game behind Miami. And now you have a tough Baltimore team. They're going to go in Baltimore. This is not going to be an easy game. I don't know. I don't understand why some Bills fans think this could be an easy game. Lamar Jackson's playing out of his mind right now. Yes, they haven't played the best of defenses, but they put up points against Miami. We didn't put up points against Miami. Like he's going to be tough to stop. Am I confident in our defense against them? Fairly. I'm more confident in our offense against their defense. So their defense let up a bunch of points to the Dolphins offense. So I am confident in our defense. I mean, I'm confident in Josh and our offense putting up points. I think it's going to be another shootout. I mean, it's going to be another shootout in Baltimore. Hopefully the weather stays good because we don't want this to be a running game. Because, again, we still just don't have a running game. I don't know how much, like, you're not going to last. You're not going to last if you can't run the ball. And if you're given 2 carries to Singletary, then 2 to Moss, and then 2 to James Cook, it's not going to work. Like, commit to Singletary or don't even run the ball. If you want to put James Cook in there for a couple of maybe screen passes or wild passes to get him in open field, fine. But he definitely doesn't look like he's ready to play either. Zach Moss, I don't know. What I mean, he's a power back and who's not a power back. I don't love it. I don't like when he's catching the ball either because he's definitely not making moves. The whole running back scene right now is just it's just like it's hard to see again why it's just such a problem with the Bills, the running game. It pisses every fan off. On 2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1, if we don't QB sneak it with our quarterback, then we have to find a trick play. We have to find a reverse, or we have to find a quick pass. Like we can't. If we have a 2nd and 1 and 3rd and 1, we run the ball up the middle of one of our running backs, it's most likely getting stopped. It's just not something that's been successful in the last couple of years. So they better figure it out. It's week 4. They better figure out the running game because we don't want Josh to keep taking these hits. But if he's got to sneak it, he's got to sneak it. No one's going to stop him. My biggest complaint on that Miami game was 2nd and 1 on the goal line, you score a touchdown to win the game, you give number 17 3 chances at a QB sneak. Like, you're letting him take hits throughout the game. You have 2nd and 1, you have 3rd and 1, you have 4th and 1. Don't go shotgun. You have 17, biggest quarterback on the field, biggest player on the offense. Have him hike the ball and get in the end zone. It's not that hard. Other teams are doing it. Like, he could do it. Don't overthink it. That's my thing with more short down plays. Don't overthink it. All right? I like when in maybe 3rd down, 4th down, you have a little play action. I'm cool with that because you don't want to just do something simple on 4th down. But 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, give them. Get the 1st down. 2nd and 1, if you're in midfield, take a shot. That's fine. Towards the goal line, get in the end zone. Not much more else to complain about the offense. You love the receivers, what they can do. Stephon Diggs is playing out of his mind this year. It sucks that Gabe Davis is hurt. You can see the difference. McKenzie came out a good comeback game last week. Jamison Crowder. I like the Jamison Crowder, Isaiah McKenzie little combo of both the slot receivers. Khalil Shakir did not play good last game at all. He had a couple bad blocking plays, but it's a rookie. He'll get better. He'll be fine. Hopefully Gabe Davis is good to go this weekend. Right now he's questionable. So wrapping up the Miami game, let's get in the injury report because we're talking about injuries. I mean, let's just start from the top here because it's a long list. This looks like a long list. Looks like a menu at a restaurant. All right. Offensive line, Ryan Bates had a concussion. Didn't practice Wednesday. Limited Thursday. Was full on Friday. He's good to go. That's great. Christian Benford broke his hand. Hasn't practiced all week. He's already ruled out for the game. So it looks like we're getting another Khair start at corner. And what are we going to do at the other end? We're going to bring in Dane Jackson. Right now is questionable for the game. So if it's crazy that he's questionable, I'd love to see it. But if he can't go, we just brought in Xavier Rhodes. Oh, good veteran cornerback. Bring him in. That's great. Bring him in. Boom. Hamstring injury today. Not playing. Great. Awesome. So at cornerback, I don't know. Maybe we're going to look at Cam Lewis. You maybe throw Saran. I mean, like Taron Johnson on the outside. You're bringing Saran Neal. Like they're going to have to figure some stuff out with the secondary right now because I didn't even talk about Micah Hyde being out for the year. It's just so – I don't know if people realize how, like, him and Poyer – I said Tre'Davious White's been out, but him and Poyer have been our best two defenders on this defense for the last 3 years. You got Von Miller now who's taken over for, I believe, that best defender on their team. But Poyer and Hyde together have been the anchor of this defense and why it's been so good. And with Tre'Davious White out, like it's so much more helpful for our young corners to have two veterans back there. And having Micah Hyde after the season is a huge loss. Huge loss. But we move on. Hopefully Poyer's back this week. Right now he's questionable, but we need that man back. Moving on down the list, Gabe Davis, ankle injury, was limited Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday, limited on Friday. He's questionable. I don't know. I mean, that's a 50-50 shot on Sunday. When he played, I feel like he was playing hobbled on Sunday too against Miami, so we need him healthy. Deion Dawkins, good to go. Sick. Diggs is good to go. Vet rest. Dane Jackson was limited all week. He's questionable, like we said. Would love to see him in. Dawson Knox, back and hip. He's been taking some hits this year. He got cracked in the Miami game. But he's a tough dude. He's been limited all week. He's questionable. He goes down. You're going to see a little bit of Quinn Morris. You'll see a little bit of Tommy Sweeney, but I think we'd see a lot more of our four wide receiver out wide with maybe a little more running back action. So a lot more Jamison Crowder, a lot more Isaiah McKenzie. But again, if Gabe Davis is not healthy, Kumero's out as well. Like, we have Khalil Shakir. This is where I think they need to bring in another receiver. I don't know if, like, I was okay with Kumero. I think he's solid and underappreciated, like, as a backup receiver. But now that he's out, just having Khalil Shakir and, like, Isaiah Hodgins on the practice squad, I think they should go out and get another receiver. Jay Kumero out with the ankle. Cam Lewis is good to go. He had a forearm injury, limited. Friday was full. He's good to go. Von Miller, vet rest. He's full. Mitch Morse, elbow injury, limited all week, questionable for Sunday. That's a big guy to have in there as well. This line Josh needs this line. We can't have anyone blowing up the middle and getting in Josh, because when Josh gets pressured heavy, he gets a little crazy. And we like when he gets crazy, but I like when he has a pocket and he's composed. It's a little bit easier to watch. but we'll see. Hopefully Mitch Morse plays. Another offensive lineman, Justin Murray, questionable. He's a backup. I mean, we just need depth. Ed Oliver, still with that ankle from week one, was limited all week. He's questionable. Jordan Phillips has already been ruled out with a hamstring injury. Like, Jordan Phillips was looking like he get just fresh legs. He looked like he was 10 years younger when in week two and week one. So having him not in there with Ed Oliver, it's just we got some practice squad guys in there at D tackle. Tim Sales banged up, but he played. But we're gonna need these guys healthy for this defense. Jordan Poyer, foot limited all week, questionable. Roger Saffield was vet rest, so he'll be good to go on Sunday as well. So just massive guys you need back on this defense are 1, Jordan Poyer, 2, Ed Oliver, 3, Dane Jackson, 4, Jordan Phillips. Those guys need to get healthy quick. Obviously, Christian Benford too as well. He just broke his hand, but he's not. He's already out. Those guys, the questionable. If we can get those guys in for Sunday, massive upgrade to this defense. Because Lamar's going to be tough. Lamar's going to be tough. He's fast. He's always given us. He actually hasn't always given us issues. We've contained him for a lot, most likely in the last couple of years, but he's playing on another level right now. It's that contract year for him. He's looking for the bag. So that's our injury report going into Sunday. I mean, I'm just hoping it's just going to be high scoring. Offense has got to click. As long as this offense stays clicking and we're patient with this defense to get fully healthy. I mean, it won't be fully healthy without Micah Hyde, but hopefully getting mostly healthy for this end of the year push. I mean, it's already week 4. We're talking about end of the year. I just want to be healthy. Just want to be healthy when the playoffs come. That's all you're looking for. And being this banged up in the beginning of the year, it's either a good or a bad thing. It's either they're going to be hurt all year and it's going to be something that's nagging, or you get it out of the way now and you fix it and we're good to go towards the end of the year. So this is tough because it wasn't an issue the last couple of years. The Bills were like the most healthy team in the league for the last couple of years, and it was a blessing. But now it feels like it's all falling down at one time. So number 1 rule, keep 17 healthy. And that's the only big rule right now. All right, keep 17 healthy. Would like a little bit in the coaching end. We'll talk a little about the coaching. The video of Dorsey going wild in the offensive coordinator booth. I love it. I don't care. I don't get why anyone's talking bad about it. I would love to see my coach have that passion. Way better than him just chalking it up and walking out of there after that, because that was a very painful end to that game. There was points that were left on the board in the first half and the second half. So completely okay with how Dorsey reacted to that. When it comes to McDermott, just do your thing, man. I mean, it's funny, the challenge week 2, we lost another challenge. I don't know how he's just the worst at challenges. Like, I got to look up that exact record, but he is just the worst with challenges. Like, not even close. Every time he throws it. What is his challenge record? I wonder if I can find it right now, but it's terrible. Oh my gosh, what did that just say? In 20, this was 2 years ago, we started off 3-15. Interesting. It can't be much better. I don't remember winning than that much, but yeah, would like to see him be a little bit better. Defense just gonna have to do their thing without the guys, but we move on to Baltimore. All right, we move on to Baltimore. We just take it a game at a time. I was looking ahead at the season, but now we can't do that. I mean, Miami lost. Right now, we got Bills -3 on Sunday. It's a 1:00 game. It's also a crime that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson's on a primetime game. I mean, you can't give us 17 primetime games. I understand that, but come on, give the people what they want. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, or what do you got? Sunday night, okay, Chiefs Bucks is respectable, and Monday night's Rams Niners. Okay, whatever. Still, 1:00 game. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Over under 51. I like the over. My prediction 35, just 30. Are we putting up 35? I think we put up 35. 35, 20s. We're going to let up field goals, not touchdowns. 35, 24. 11-point victory for the Buffalo Bills. Late touchdown, just to cover pretty much. But game-stealing drive that we like to see. 35-24 is my guess for the game. And then we're coming back right here to the Bills Up Pod. We're going to give them more. Follow the Twitter. If you have someone that's a fan of another team, have them follow their podcast. We're pumping out great pods right now. We actually do have Raven Up Pod. I'm gonna get some chatter with the Raven Up Pod on Twitter. So if you want to join in on that, join in on that. I'm gonna tag them in this. After that, we got Pittsburgh. Hopefully that's a win, and then we got the 2 big games of Kansas City and Green Bay. So big 3 out of 4. We got to get at least, I want 3 out of 4 out of these games. Go into that Jet game with a 5-2 record's cool with me. Any of the Jets, and Minnesota will be Cleveland, Detroit, New England, Jets, Miami, revenge, Chicago, Cincinnati, New England. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get back to Bills football. Let's get back to being confident. Because now I know a lot of us fans lost that confidence in that we're going to win the Super Bowl. After that first 2 weeks, we're like, who the hell's going to stop us? After we was in Miami, like, whoa, maybe we're not that good. Let's get that confidence back, right? Let's get that swagger back. All right? Till next time. Bills up. Let's go.